I think students have taught us a lesson in that sometimes you need to step way out of your comfort zone.
Sitting in a room listening to the young activists, I'm so proud that, and I saw it just at Stellenbosch, how young leaders are really stepping up and say, we're here.
Each generation, present here, we all have a unique take on life, and all of us have unique contributions that we can make. And if we can, at the very least, hear each other, then I think we would have gone a long way to make a success of the evening.
I was asked to share from my own experience. My own, shall I say, political awakening happened in 1976. Actually, I was a first-year BSc student at UWC. I almost see myself as an accidental student leader at UWC. I was elected to SRC in 1984. But that happened after the death of a good friend of mine, Cliffy Brown, who was killed by security forces. And I said to myself, Llewellyn, what have you done, really, to contribute to the liberation of the country? If you don't do it from a personal commitment to the struggle for the common good, then you're going to lose your track.
One thing people must know with what's going on is that the revolution will be intersectional. We must accept that there are more dimensions and identities and struggles and oppressions that are taking place as we speak. I mean, my mind is currently being blown because all these things that are talked about in these concepts, it's almost like Stellenbosch is like 15 years behind, and you can't even bring these topics to the table. You can't talk about these things in this space, and it's just so frustrating because even now, when Wandile brought up the topic of transformation, that's what I've been using as a proxy to discuss what the university needs to go through, when it's much deeper than that.
I see kind of a thread almost in what all of you said. Nathan, you speak about disrupting whiteness. Ijeoma spoke about disrupting space at Stellenbosch. You didn't exactly use the word disrupting, but you speak about deconstructing, which is also a form of disruption. And Llewellyn, you talk about touching the nerve. You touch the nerve of the establishment, and that's also disrupting something. Just from and any one of you can come in. Let's unpack this concept of disrupting a little bit more. Any takers?
Since 1994, we've been talking about transformation. And the issue with transformation is that it almost becomes a quantifiable thing. So we're slowly starting to realize that, we've been taking this approach of, okay, let's just try and tweak that little thing and tweak that little thing and tweak that little thing. But we're starting to realize that in its framework, in its foundation, in its core, I don't know if we can transform it and actually make it into something that can recognize all of us equally. So quite frankly, we're like, maybe it needs to come down and we need to build something new in its place. We really want to just demolish everything that has come about and really reimagine South Africa, reimagine post-apartheid South Africa.
One of the things, I guess, that has been of a little bit of concern to me has got to do with sometimes the ways in which when we take up political activity, we want to divorce that from critical thought. And how that plays itself out, as I've seen it within particularly the RMF moment, the first moment, if I may call it that, is really what sometimes has concerned me, where we are willing to point out things that we don't like about white supremacy. But there are old practices, problematic practices that operate around power. For example, where black males within the RMF will also take up similar practices but argue that it is not the playing out of power. We get people saying, as a black male, I cannot be privileged. And I say, nonsense.
We in civil society who are no longer students, is there any way in which you see us assisting the students in other ways? You know, I can't toy any longer, but maybe there's some way in which we can show our solidarity and assist you, because I support what the students are doing now. Thank you.
This is not something for activists. We don't need activists. Activists generally have political agendas which we are not interested in. If anybody wants to know, I love Sasco Bread Company. Beyond that, I'm not so sure. People are playing with people's lives and it's bullshit. Activists, I don't like that term. You can do with it what you want, but we just need people to care. That's what we need. We need for this conversation not to die in this room.